Good morning. Welcome to Common Sense with Tom Schmitz. We come to you from the Power Plant Business Incubator every morning at this time. Thank you for joining us. I come to you still angry today. As you see my friend joining me in the shot there. We'll get to Vixen in a moment. I'm still angry at DirecTV and Hearst Entertainment. I know it's not earth-shattering, just like I said yesterday, but the issue is problematic to those of us that want to watch NBC's coverage of whatever may be on. And now it's led to, today is day 5, or day 6 actually. Nothing has been fixed with this problem. I've been on the phone with DirecTV. I've even called Hearst TV in Orlando, and everybody says it's everybody else's fault. All I know is me and millions of people like me around the country, 29 states, 39 markets, are being denied access that we paid for. That's a problem. Somebody needs to get off their ass and do something about it. It's just what I think. I wanted to go ahead and tell you that the views expressed here by the host and the guest are those of the host and the guest only, and in no way reflect the views of the CEP, the Power Plant Business Incubator, the City of Ocala, or the County of Marion. Our guest today on Common Sense with Tom Schmitz is Kelly Vail, the shelter manager at the Humane Society of Marion County. But really, the guest is Vixen today. We're going to get to Vixen in just a moment. Vixen is a scene stealer. But first, what happened while you were sleeping? While You Were Sleeping is brought to you by National Sports Broadcasting, your leader in equine competition broadcasting up and down the East Coast of the United States. 2 robbers held up a Dollar General store northwest of Ocala Thursday night. It was the second time the store on Highway 326 has been robbed in the past 2 months. On Thursday night, Marion County Sheriff's deputies said at least one of the robbers had a gun. They demanded cash, received an undetermined amount of money, and ran away. Deputies received a call shortly before 10 p.m. They rushed to the scene. They did search the area but did not find anyone. The store had previously been robbed on the morning of November 11th by a masked gunman who jumped the counter. If you have any information about this robbery or any previous robberies, please contact the Marion County Sheriff's Office. We'll continue to follow this story and have updates here when possible. With that, now I'd like to welcome in my guest, the shelter manager of the Humane Society of Marion County, Kelly Vail, and our special guest, the Common Sense Network Pet of the Month, Vixen, who is an Anatolian Shepherd and Mastiff mix. Did I get that right, Kelly?
Yes, that is right.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you, Tom?
Wonderful, wonderful. Truth be told, to put everything out there so everybody knows we're above board, I am a board member, a sitting board member of the Humane Society of Marion County. Somebody asked, why would you do a pet show? Because it's my show and I can do a pet show if I want to. And I'm on the board of the Humane Society of Marion County, where Vixen right here is one of our members. And Vixen's been with us a little over a year and a half now, Kelly?
That's correct. She first came to us in September of 2015. She was a farm dog and she just kept going after the chickens, which, I mean, who could blame her? They're funny looking and she wanted to chase them. So that was the problem with her there. She was adopted once. They brought her back because she jumped their 4-foot fence. I feel like she more stepped over it. So the 4-foot fence is not going to do for her. She wanted to go out and play with the kids and she just went right over it to get there. As you can see, that is not a problem for her whatsoever.
Our executive producer, Brian Morgan, who is the nice guy and everything, she could probably step over him.
Probably.
She could probably clean stuff.
If she wants to go somewhere, there's no stopping her.
She could step over me if she wanted to.
She's a good 170 pounds or so. So she's going to go where she wants.
And right now she wants to hang out on the desk.
Yeah.
But now if we wanted to adopt Vixen or you want to come visit Vixen, what's the process to come and see Vixen? I mean, is it something I can come and say, hey, I want Vixen, and 10 minutes later I can walk out of the door with her?
No. Our process, we want to do the due diligence for these dogs. We have a strategic way that we make sure that the home is the best for the animal. It's not even if it's a great home, it's what's best for this animal. So you have an application that you fill out and we review your answers, and then after that time, if we've approved based on those answers, if you have any other dogs or cats, we have to do a meet and greet. I could tell you right now she's not going to be okay with cats, and we do prefer her to not be with small dogs. Just from her size, when she plays, she has a lot of weight behind it. So small dogs are not the best option for her. She likes watching herself.
Yeah, she's figured out the camera's getting her good side. Now she's trying to get you a silhouette. There she is. There she is.
So pretty.
So-
Then if you do have any other dogs that we can match with her, we have to do a meet and greet and see that they are up to date on all their vaccinations and on heartworm preventative. Once you've passed that, we will do a home inspection to make sure that the home is in the best condition for her, no ways for her to escape or be hurt. And once all those steps are completed, then you can take her home.
So this is a process. It's a couple days, 3 days.
48 hours to 72
Right.
hours at the most. We try not to drag it out too long.
And for less than $100 though, and a proper home visit and everything, Vixen could be your pet.
Yep, she could. It's $90 for an adoption fee. She's decided to hide now. It's $90 for an adoption fee.
For dogs, it's $90. Now for cats, it's a little different.
Cats, it's
For adult cats, it's $30.
Correct.
For kittens, it's $55. And that is to take care of some of the cost of
Yes.
neutering and spading and all. By the way, which is not completely offset. The
No.
Humane Society doesn't, for what the operation really cost, you're getting a great deal coming through the Humane Society.
We actually make no profit off of adoptions. Our goal for adoptions is to find these animals home, not to make a profit. So we do not make a profit off of any adoption. It's really just to go towards some of the cost of the care of that animal.
We are a no-kill shelter,
We are.
and I like to say we because I'm part of the Humane Society. The Humane Society is a no-kill shelter, which is why she's been with us a year and a half.
Yep, she will stay with us until she finds that perfect home.
We've had I know a dog that recently got adopted out.
Scarlett, she's been with us over 2 years.
No, I'm talking about a year ago, a dog got adopted out that had been with us almost 5 years.
Oh, yeah, we'll keep him.
He was a big dog, but he was a great dog, and he finally found a home. So, now how many pets or how many rescues is the Humane Society able to hold, dog wise and cat wise?
I believe our number is 130 cats and 120 dogs, I believe is our capacity. And that can vary because puppies, of course, if there's a litter, they can go in one kennel. But that's the general.
Is it harder? Is pet adoption a lot like children adoption, where the older and bigger the dog or cat, the more difficult it is to adopt them out as opposed to a younger puppy or smaller dog?
Yeah, I would say it could go that way. Older dogs especially. We do try to match seniors with seniors. We feel that's a great fit. But it does sometimes take them longer, especially if they're older and bigger. Right now we have a beautiful Great Dane. His name is Stilts McGilt.
He is amazing.
He is gorgeous, and he is 8 years old. And as you know, he's pretty much almost to his limit for a Great Dane. So he's not the top pick, whereas a younger Great Dane would go right away.
A 1 or 2 year old Great Dane would be gone.
Been gone already.
Because Stilts Great Danes, their average lifespan is 9.5, 10 years.
Right.
And so he's
there.
He's there.
But he deserves that home for that last year of his life and have that love. He deserves that.
And don't get me wrong, we're not saying that he's 9.5, 10. I have a friend of mine that's got a Great Dane that's 13.5.
Yeah, I've seen
so
them live longer.
They live longer, but I also have a friend of mine that he had his Great Dane pass away at 6.
Yeah, it happens. It's really hard with that breed. There's a lot of stress on their heart and their joints because of their size.
Now, if someone's looking for a particular dog, can they come in and say, hey, I'm looking for this type of dog, and does the Humane Society have the ability to guide them to other rescues, or is it something we put them on a list and when one comes in, we'll call them? How's that work?
We don't have a list right now. As you know, we are volunteer-based, so we have limited staff members. So as far as having the appropriate amount of staff to manage something like that and keep up with it, we haven't as of yet, but that is a goal of something that I would like to do. And we do have a list of other rescues that they can go check of in town, and of course we always send them over to the county if we don't have something that they're looking for, because that's definitely saving a life, which is a good choice. But if they're looking for a specific breed, I tend to ask them the reason and I can usually match them with a good match for what they're looking for. That may not be breed specific.
How I don't want to use the word bad, but how often because you hear all the time, I see on Facebook constantly people posting, don't give a dog to this person. Make sure this person doesn't get dogs because this person will use them as bait dogs. How often is the problem of dog fighting and bait dogs something that Humane Society sees?
It's actually more prevalent in our county than people would like to think. The rural areas of our county still have dog fighting. We have a dog in our shelter right now. His name is Freddie P. He is a 10-year-old American Bulldog, and he was used for bait. So his entire face is nothing but scars. And it's just such a sad thing to see, and it does happen a lot more often than people would think. So we always tell people, if you for some reason cannot keep your animal, never ever advertise them free to a good home. Craigslist, all these, rehoming.
They're looking for
Ocala,
dogs. They
comb these sites and then go through with their families or send people like Family Environment to make people feel trusting with giving these dogs. See, she'll take me wherever she wants me to go. Feel trusting environment that they'll just go pick up these dogs and then that's what they use them for.
Let's talk about some things that are much nicer to think about. There are lots of programs we have right now at the Humane Society. Let's talk about some of the things that are on the docket coming up.
All right. We are restarting our volunteer program. So we revamped it. I have created to be a little bit more user-friendly. We're not counting hours by hand anymore. I'm going to have a system that you log into and you can check your hours anytime you want. You can also see events coming up that you might want to participate in, and any job assignments I can post. If I really need help with something, I can put it up there and everyone can see and sign up if they need to. That is going to go in place up this week on our website. The new application will be uploaded, and our first orientation is going to be the 14th.
And what is that website if people want to go to it?
It is thehsmc.org. So it stands for Humane Society Marion County. So it's thehsmc.org.
And you can go find any information that you want to about the volunteer programs. Now, I know that our board of directors president, Roseanne, is very passionate.
Yes, she is.
About
we love her.
Reading.
Yes.
And she has a unique program that is a huge success. Tell us about that program.
It's called the Doggone Good Reading Program. It's a program where you can go on our website again to events, and you'll see the sign up. We host 12 children at a session, and they come and read to our dogs. It's really great because they get to sit and read quietly to the dog. Some children that want to work on reading skills, they're not feeling pressured. They're sitting with someone that is happy to listen. And the dogs gives them being in close proximity with children in a calm environment. So it brings good memories and good times with kids instead of hectic, crazy times with kids.
Because let's be honest, children sometimes can be are problematic for dogs, especially rescue dogs and dogs that are adopted out, because they may have come from an environment that didn't have children involved in it, so they've never been introduced to children. So to them, a lot of people say, well, why does a dog snap at a child, or why does a dog click its teeth at a child? Because a dog, if it's not been raised in an environment where children are prevalent, it sees the child as just a beast its size trying to get
and it is actually a little bit more alarming for them when it's on their eye level. They're not sure quite what that is. My dog Marty I got from the shelter a little over a year ago. He met my niece Brielle. She was about 1 at the time, and he was just taken back. He had no idea what that was and why it was waddling towards him. He was very, very nervous.
Well, I got very lucky. The dog of my life, my dog Static, who was an American Staffordshire Terrier, who is sadly no longer with us. He got cancer and passed away at 12 years old. But I got him from a friend of mine whose daughter had him. He was a show dog that had been bought out of Louisiana for a crazy amount of money, $4,500, to be a show dog. And when I got him, he was 9 months old, because when he was up in the hotel room bed getting some special time with the owner's 4-year-old came right at eye level, and Static clicked at her.
Yeah.
Well, she wanted to put Static down. And her mom, who worked in a vet's office in Naples, said, no, I was living down there. She said, no, I got the perfect guy for Static. And I always asked Vivian, I said, were we the perfect guy because you thought you knew I was good with bulldogs? Or was I the perfect guy because Static and I resembled each other? I didn't know.
Funny.
But I adopted Static at 8 months old, 9 months old, and I kept him forever. But it was a situation where he wasn't used to a 4-year-old. He had never been introduced.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I know people show dogs and people very much care for their dogs, but Static was a dog that He was caged 18 hours a day. He was worked with 6 hours a day. That's what they did as a show dog. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was dremelled. He was taken care of. And his cage. When I say he was caged 18 hours a day, he had a cage that was the size of 4 normal cages. So in the house, in 72-degree weather and everything, but still in a cage, which I don't adhere to at all.
Right.
So I was able to rescue him, but the reason was he didn't know what a child was.
Yeah.
These are all problems people have to face when they're adopting.
You know, never let them meet face to face. That's very confrontational for a dog, whether it be another dog or a child or a person. That's not the way you greet them immediately face to face until they know you. It's just very put off.
Put your hand down, let them snip you, let them get the you don't ever write eye to eye because they see that as a stressor or a threat.
Right.
And people forget, even though they're a domesticated animal, they're still an animal, and their instincts to protect themselves will kick in.
Well, the way I try and remind people is, I mean, we're not that much different. If I had met you for the first time and I come up and touch noses with you, you're going to step back and be like, whoa, why are you in my box?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not any different for them. You want to come right up and get in their face.
If a stranger comes up and chest bumps me, I'm going to be like, whoa, what's your problem?
Exactly. So, yeah, they may be animals, but we're actually not any different. When you first meet somebody, you don't want them in your face.
So do we have more cats, more dogs, or is it about the same right now at the shelter?
Right now we have more cats. And that's, I mean, the feral community is prevalent out there too. We do our best to help with the feral community.
Explain what the feral community is for those that may not know.
A feral community is, you'll see colonies actually of cats that just reproduce, and now they become like their own little town.
For those people who are wondering, any restaurant in town, you will see colonies of cats.
Behind there, yep, and they're called feral because they're not going to come to you.
They're wild cats.
Yes, they're not going to want anything to do with you. Leave food and go. We do have a lot of wonderful people in our community who feed the feral cats and catch them and release them. Sheltering Hands is a place in town that does trap and release. So all they basically do is fix them, spay or neuter.
And then they clip a little spot on their ear.
So you know it's done. Doesn't hurt them at all. They're under when they do it, but it lets them know that it's already been done. So for the next person that comes through, they don't trap that cat again. It's already been done. And so that's just an attempt to try and control the feral community.
And people don't understand when people say, oh, I hate all these feral cats running around. I hate all these wild cats. They actually do a service to the community. That a lot of people, I had to convince my friend who runs a local restaurant here. He was upset that a certain lady, I won't mention Bruce's girlfriend's name on the air, comes and feeds the cats at his restaurant. And I was like, you should not be upset with that because the dry storage area of his restaurant is separate from his actual restaurant.
Oh yeah,
it's outside.
Nice and rat-free.
So it sits right next to a retention pond, which sits on the back side of it in a fenced-in area off the property. So it's just a prime area for rats and squirrels and snakes and all to try to get into that dry storage where there's food. That doesn't happen while those feral cats are there.
No, yeah.
Because those feral cats keep that area free of all those varmint.
Right.
And people don't realize these service feral cats like that, they're not a nuisance. Once they've been fixed and spayed so the colony doesn't keep reproducing.
Correct.
That's the issue.
They do no harm. They don't bother anybody. They just want to stay away from people and eat and be.
And they literally, the ecosystem literally benefits from them being there.
Yes, yeah. We don't want to get rid of them or hurt them or anything, but we do want to keep them from growing. We don't. Hi, honey.
So you talked about volunteers.
Yes.
How important are volunteers to your everyday work?
They are essential. We, like I said, have few staff members. In the shelter, there's maybe 10 of us to run that entire shelter. So volunteers play a key role in all the functionings of things that we do, both inside the shelter and outside the shelter. One of the favorites is fostering. We do offer a foster program. So all of our animals have to be 8 weeks old, and for kittens, they have to be at least 2 pounds. To stay at the shelter. So before that time, they will have to go to a foster home, and the foster home basically nurtures them and takes care of them until they're big enough to come back to the shelter. And that's a real fun volunteer activity. You can sign up for, and it has to go through our tech room to be approved, but it is definitely one of the things we offer. People love to just come and walk our dogs. They do get turned out in a yard twice a day for 3 hours a day. They play with other dogs. And they get to have outside interaction in our beautiful weather. But leash walking is not something as staff members we have time to do. So that is a key role of our volunteers. They love to come in, take them out on walks. and that is one of the key things that we want them to do. That's social interaction with humans, learning to walk on a leash properly, and it's a great way for people to just come and spend some time with them.
I know we just started. We just instituted a program where we're doing some obedience training for the dogs before we adopt them out, which leads to less return.
Yes, that is
back
our goal.
of the animal. That's the goal. What is in that kind of situation? Is it something that you think is long term going to be effective to helping adoptions, making sure that the animal and leash walking is part of it?
Yeah, yep. It's actually a really extensive program, and we are so excited to have this. We've partnered with Stephanie Roberts, who is the owner of Procyon Training, and she is amazing. She really understands why dogs do what they do, and she helps other people understand that so it can help you to train your dog. We have 4 different components to it. The first is a new adopter class, so that anyone who is adopted from us can come. It's the first Saturday of every month, and talk to her about any issues that have come up since the dog's been in the home, any type of integration in the home and adjustment issues that are going on for both the family and the dog. And bring the dog, she'll go through these with you and teach you how to correct any issues you're having. Second component is the following Saturdays of a month, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. She's there at 4 p.m. to address any training issues that you're having. And that is completely open to the public, free of charge. Anyone can come in and see her and just say, hey, this dog keeps jumping on me. And they will address it and teach you how to stop the dog from jumping on you. And it's going to take work on your part. It's not going to happen in that one that one time, but she's going to show you how to correct it, and if you're consistent, it will change.
And that's the key.
Yeah, consistency.
To working with animals is consistency.
Right.
You can't only be home on Saturday and Sundays and keep the dog crated 5 days a week, and then on Saturday and Sunday let the dog out the crate and say, sit Rover, and expect Rover to act perfectly.
Right.
Rover's been caged up for 5 days.
Yeah,
you have to work with a dog on a regular basis.
Right.
And I use what some people deem to not, some people don't like it, some people do. I use the water bottle method.
We use that at PetSmart.
Yeah, I'm the water bottle guy.
It just gets their attention, and it's not, they don't necessarily like being sprayed with water, but it doesn't hurt them.
It doesn't hurt them.
Some people do use that.
I use the water bottle method for my dogs, always have. You know the method I use for I have 6 cats and 2 dogs.
That's awesome.
You know what I use for my cats method? People don't realize it. I use the tinfoil method.
The tinfoil method?
Yeah, but there's areas in your house you don't want cats to jump on. If you don't want a cat to jump on, say your kitchen counters on their kittens, and you're trying to train them where they can't, where their space, because the cat, you have to clearly define a cat's space, or a cat will take over. Yeah. Okay, because dogs need us, cats tolerate us. I'm a firm believer in that. So, but if you spread tinfoil, you go to the Dollar Tree, get the dollar rolls of tinfoil. Spread tinfoil out on the places you don't want the cats to jump. They'll jump there once and hit that tinfoil, and it makes that noise and it slides. Cats will register that that's dangerous up there. And the tinfoil method keeps, if you ever want to train your cats not to jump on certain areas in your home and everything, tinfoil method, it's the way it doesn't hurt the cats. It frightens them a little bit when they land on the tinfoil, but it gives them this thought in their head, don't need to go back there. So the tinfoil method works pretty good.
That's awesome.
So
the third component of the training program, which is really important to let everybody know about, is we offer a full level 1 basic training course. So that's going to be all your basic commands, including loose leash walking. And it's a 6-week class, the same one you pay $120 for at a store. We offer that free to everyone who adopts from us. If you've adopted from another shelter or rescue, it's $30. And if you've bought your dog, which is understandable, I understand some people do that still, the dog still needs to be trained to stay in its home. So we're offering that still at $60, which is still half the price of
Still half
class.
price if you bought your dog.
It's a full 6-week
Quarter
level
price
class.
if you adopted it from another shelter, and free if you adopted it from the Humane Society.
Correct.
That's a pretty good
And
gig.
it's the full basic command training.
So as we wrap up, I need to ask you a very important question.
Yes.
Now, you've been with us at the Humane Society since September?
Yes.
So October, November, December, January, 4 months.
Yes.
Are you familiar with the pants controversy?
The pants controversy?
You don't know about the pants controversy?
I am not familiar with the
Okay,
pants.
I'm giving you homework now.
Okay.
When you go back to the shelter, you know Mary Rye. Go to Mary and say, explain to me the pants controversy.
Okay.
Because the pants controversy is going to be a big fundraiser for us this year at Dog Days of Summer. For those of you who don't know what Dog Days of Summer is, it's one of our biggest fundraising events. It's held annually. I actually play music for the event. We have live auction, food, we have raffles and everything. It's a great event to introduce yourself to the Humane Society. It's held in the summertime. That's why it's the Dog Days of Summer. So really encourage you to do that. Go to Facebook, the Humane Society of Marion County's Facebook page. You can also go to the website. It is
thehsmc.org.
thehsmc.org. You can go check out stuff there. It says Forever Starts Here. When you pull it up, it's right there on the video for you right now. What's it say? It says,
Open
there are
your
lots
heart
of
and your
ways to
home.
make a difference in our pet community.
Yep.
So go to those websites for any information you might want to know about. But the pants controversy has to do with Bruce Fischlow and the Dog Days of Summer.
Okay.
And this year, we have been told the pants will go up for an auction to see who gets to burn them.
Okay. Now I'm intrigued.
Now you're intrigued.
I got it now.
Now you're intrigued. Kelly, thanks so much for dropping by.
No.
Vixen.
Vixen, you want to come say bye? Come here.
Vixen, we finally got her to lay down and calm down.
Come here.
Come here, girl. Come here.
Come on.
Vixen. There she is.
There she is.
She's much bigger than her head alludes to.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And you can adopt Vixen. She is at the Humane Society. Go by and see them. They're open Monday through Sunday, except for Wednesday. They're closed on Wednesday.
Yep.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
10 to
Are
6.
there any adoption events coming up around our area in the next few weeks?
We do. Actually, this Saturday, we are at Subaru on 441 North. They're doing their Share the Love event, and we are one of their charities that they do for the Share the Love event.
That's such a great commercial.
On Sunday the 15th, there is the Jeep Dogs event coming up. And then a really big deal, I think it's really cool, we have a international cat show coming to Ocala. It's going to be at Jambalaya, the 20th and 21st, Saturday and Sunday. Spectators can go and buy a ticket and see all the beautiful cats from around the world that are top award winners. The Humane Society gets to put 2 cats in to show, and we will be there doing adoptions, and they're giving us a percentage of all the proceeds from the tickets. So it would be awesome if everyone checked it out. It's pretty cool.
Kelly Vail, the shelter manager of the Humane Society of Marion County. Bruce Fischlow always gets me. He says it's the Humane Society of Marion County, not
Correct.
Marion County Humane Society. So the Humane Society of Marion County. Now, as we wrap up the show, I'm going to give you this day in history. This day in history is brought to you by Ocala Golf Club. For all your golf needs, go see Jason Linhart and his group at Ocala Golf Club, muni to those of us that play it regularly. You can also find them on the web at ocalagolfclub.com. Set your tee times now and have an enjoyable day at Ocala Golf Club. On this day in history in 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt asked Congress to support the Lend-Lease Bill to help supply the Allies, and it helped keep Britain in the war of Britain in airplanes and in tanks so they could fight off the German aggression until America entered the war in early 1942. That's going to bring a close to the show today. I'd like to thank my guest, Kelly Vail. She is the shelter director of the Humane Society of Marion County. And of course, behind the scenes, executive producer Brian Morgan pushing all the right buttons. For everyone here at the Common Sense Network, I'm Tom Schmitz saying have a good day, everybody.